Ladies and gentlemen of the crypto space, we're live on a Tuesday at 11:27 a.m., November 17th, the middle of the month, and today is pure fire. It is fire. We got the title up on the screen. We got our sponsors up on the screen. We got me up on the screen. It's crazy. Bitcoin rips past 17K. Wham, bam, pow. Some hot stuff going on today. It's going to be a fun stream. It's exciting. Today's stream, as always, is sponsored by Change Angel, non-custodial swap exchange. Stop depositing on exchanges. If you're not using DeFi, use a non-custodial exchange. That is the name of the game. Who's on the stream? We got RR. We got Stops in the house. Always a pleasure. Rick's in the house. Yeah. Morning. Afternoon. I don't know. My girls get me up at like 6, 7 a.m. I don't even know what morning is anymore. Coffee. Love coffee. Let's pop it over to the main screen and see what's going on. All right, let's look at the fire, the pure fire. It's Bitcoin fire. You guys. When I see this, it's not even the lines that I draw. I see literally just the Stoke oscillator. Not even the MACD. I'm not even looking at the MACD on this. The MACD is just basically bullish. It's going up. It's trending upward. But when I see this, and I see this Stoke on the daily for Bitcoin, and the price action, and that top orange line right there, there's some serious shit about to go down, boys and girls. I'm telling you right now, there's some serious shit about to go down. Do you see that green line on the Stoke? Do you see this green line right here? This is a higher low after a significant amount of time. And look at the current location. We have a bullish signal cross. It's a big, big rip right through. And we are more or less skewed towards oversold territory. We have the full Stoke field. When I say on Twitter Stoke field, this is the field. Until we get to overbought territory. And to top it all off, we've just broken through this top orange line. What is this top orange line? We got to zoom out to the weekly to see what that is. The top orange line is basically the last resistance before we start getting into the 19-20,000 territory. So at the top it all off, these are wicks. These were wicks on the weekly chart. Look at this weekly chart. This is a solid candle. I know we're in overbought territory on the weekly, but that's some serious bullish trend action. And this daily is just fire. And right now the macro narrative for Bitcoin is so strong. This right here, this daily chart has me so excited. It has an entire Stoke field to rip. It could easily pull back and see a resistance flip support. And frankly, that would probably be healthier. But if you're crazy bullish, it rips to 20 grand and it turns that into support. It rips to 21 grand, falls back to 20 grand, turns that resistance flip support. Now you're talking some serious bullish price action. Now, frankly, that'd be great if it did it here too. It fell back, it rips up, and it falls back down to the 17K for a resistance flip support. And that's some serious bullish price action. Personally, I think this thing's going to rip to 20 grand real quick. I don't do time frames, but we just preached 17K right now, and we're at 17.4. And look at the Stoke. Look at the Stoke. Stoke is like pressure. This is like pressure, and how much velocity and pressure is available for an upward run. And the whole field is available for an upward run. Look at the last time it was low like this. It was down here. Check this out. This is what Stoke is. So was the low in the Stoke, and here was the high in the Stoke. 16%. And let's move it over here. Here was the low in the Stoke. And here was the high in the Stoke, 13%. That's what Stoke is, ladies and gentlemen. But look at this price action. Do you realize on the daily chart, do you see this? On the daily chart, the Stoke was going down and the price was going up. Do you know how bullish that is? Stoke is a pressure. It's either basically a bullish or a bearish pressure. The price was going up with downward stoke action. This might be the most bullish chart I've ever seen. Oh my god. Who else is in the house? We got Digibite and Just Nibble. Igor's in the house. Domel's in the house. Kel's in the house. Always a pleasure. Heirloom. Yes. Yes, sir. Pellets. Yes. Got the crew. Let's see what else is going on. I told you guys I'm going to talk about KeeperDAO because I think that's a big sleeper. Let's bring it over to the curve chart. So we had a nice pullback. I was expecting a pullback to the 494 orange line, which was somewhat of this resistance right here. You see it on the top here. You see it basically fell. Well, there was a resistance up there, but it also didn't hold. This didn't hold, and it was resistance over here. So that's a nice orange line. That's why I drew that orange line there. And frankly, look, they're meaningful lines. It fell through it, pretty much bounced off the 200 EMA as well as this orange line, which is clearly this support here. But now it's holding that orange line as resistance. So this is a resistance, resistance, resistance. It was support here, held as support a bit here, but fell through, and now it's holding as resistance. That's quite interesting. So this is not. Bear in mind, look at the Stoke. We are towards the bottom of the field, so there is a more likely than less likely chance of bullish price action. And bear in mind, look at the MACD. So a great way to trade is if there was a bearish MACD signal cross, you see the blue crossing the red, you sell, and then watch what happens. It comes around and it's going to do a cross and then go up, and you buy when the signal crosses like that. Let's take a look at the longer time frames. Oversold. Let's take a look at the daily. It's not so meaningful because there's such a small history, so you can't consider the daily too much on curve. Let's look at the hourly. I didn't look at the hour. Hour's oversold. I think we're going to see a nice breach of this orange line to the upside. And the whole question in my mind is whether you're going to see higher highs. And you also got to remember, I highly don't advocate or consider it for myself, this asset to be a trading asset. What's the point of buying and selling it? No, this is an asset that's a yield-bearing asset. You're participating in a platform that generates yield derived from trading fees. So, it's nice to see the price action, particularly because yield is denominated in CRV. So as the value of CRV increases, so does the yield, 49%. And so we're generating 49% yield. And I've been doing this for a while at this point, and that's good to see. This is some serious yield for a platform that has $93 million in daily volume currently. We're definitely towards the lower end of where we're going to be in the future. It's the whole system is expanding. This will be $1 billion. This will be $10 billion a day. And that's the whole point. That's the topic we've been discussing, that the goal, or at least a goal, at least the potential financial goal for one's portfolio is to own as much VECRV, as much of a portion of these daily earnings as possible. And we have to consider that there's emissions, inflationary emissions, which is diluting your VECRV position continuously. And to compensate, what you would need to do, I would argue, don't buy CRV. I would argue you take a LP, a liquidity position, and do consider risk. There is risk providing this liquidity. So I have a nice $40,000 that I'm providing as liquidity. That's actually a loan from MakerDAO Oasis, which I'm paying 4% on. So if there's a problem with Curve and I lose a portion or all of this debt, that would be it would be meaningful. Frankly, I owe more in taxes, so this would be a good tax write-off if I lost this. Rather lose it than give it to the government in some regards. That's how much people really should hate income tax. It's kind of a violation, which is a topic unto itself. But the point being, this is a risk considered. I'm okay with this risk. It's worth the risk considering the potential returns. The potential returns are 5 digits a year. 5 digit yield per year? That changes everything, guys. Especially the fact, one, that it's compounded, and two, it's denominated in an asset that has potentially asymmetric price appreciation potential. Curve could potentially be worth a freaking fortune. In the next couple of years, Curve could be worth a huge amount of money. Dollars, $5, $10. The whole crypto space could go to trillions of dollars. It could go an order of magnitude higher. That's the name of the game, boys and girls. Um, Heirloom says, so tired waking up every 3 hours to check the market, right? How the hell are we supposed to sleep nowadays? Look at this. Look at Bitcoin. This thing's about to rip past 17,500. It just goes up. The crypto's turned into the stock market. It just goes up. Money print to go burr. Hey. Hans in the house. Hans, my man. Always a pleasure. Stop by any time. Always here. Kel, how's the future for futures for sturgeon? Everyone loves sturgeon futures. What's your take on Bitcoin dominance next 3 to 6 months? Let's take a look. So bear in mind, I'm not too worried about dominance because if both expand, the dominance stays about the same. So what's most important about dominance is obviously trend formation, just like with everything else. Let's zoom out. Let's go to the weekly. That's what I want to see. So there's the 200 EMA on the weekly. If this breaks to the upside, we're going to see obviously bullish price action in Bitcoin versus Ethereum, which would be depreciate or Bitcoin outperforming Ethereum. The only significance of this is which is outperforming, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, I think I'm skewed towards Bitcoin because Bitcoin fits in the global financial macro narrative with regard to a treasury asset, with regard to collateral, pristine collateral. You can actually generate yield on Bitcoin now by lending it. People want to borrow Bitcoin and pay you interest for letting you borrow their Bitcoin, and that's what's so powerful about Bitcoin right now. People are paying jack shit for treasuries and bonds. Bonds are negative. So what's the point of holding a bond? And clearly, holding money in a bank account, negative yielding debt is forcing banks to denominate to collect fees to keep money in a bank. It's the most ridiculous thing in the world, and this is where why I firmly my position is that Bitcoin will outperform Ethereum, albeit. That does not diminish in any regard my bullishness for Ethereum. Ethereum is changing the planet, and it's the financial network of the future. Polkadot is not focused at all on replacing or competing with Ethereum. Everything being built on Polkadot right now is designed to be synergistic with Ethereum, to work hand in hand to enhance Ethereum. And Cosmos will target that as well, and everything else. If a platform wants to be successful, there's going to be a bridge, and there's going to be fluid, seamless interop with Ethereum. Elrond, we've seen that. I don't know what the heck's going on with Tezos and Cardano doesn't even hasn't even entered the party at all yet. So we have no idea what's going on. There's a position there is extremely speculative. There's nothing. There's more development thus far on Elrond. As I tell everybody, invest in what is. What is today? What is going on today? What is a project and a platform doing today? If you're going to speculate, you have to do it with a small portion of your portfolio. Otherwise, there's too much risk. You want to minimize risk, maximize gain, focus on yield. That's the name of the game. Anyway, I digress. Where are we? YF Die Finance. Well, core finance is a deflationary governance-driven asset, but I can't spread too thin. I've looked into it. I like the user interface, which is actually meaningful. You can't totally ignore a project's user interface. What is it? Let's go here. And we'll go to their project from here. So core is interesting. I don't have a position. I'm much more interested in KeeperDAO. from a governance and from a DAO platform. So I love this user interface. I love these retro Windows 95 user interface. This has that curve type of goal that they're looking for, very retro. You connect your wallet, you connect your MetaMask, and you can farm, and you have your governance, which is coming soon. But um, I don't have a position. I don't. Many folks do. Little Moon Lambo loves his and and a bunch of the other boys on Twitter love their DAOs and their yield farming. But for me, yeah, 85% Bitcoin is doing right. This is about to rip past 15. Look at that, 497. This is so ripping past Bitcoin. And for me, Curve is my secondary focus. $93 million a day AMM platform is absolutely incredible. So Yearn is DeFi automation. Yearn is one of the most important projects in the entire crypto space because it is a way to automatically derive yield from various platforms interacting with one another. This is DeFi automation. This yield is real. This yield is based on predominantly Curve. And this yield will grow your value and the quantity of assets you have, denominated as such. Now, bear in mind, for instance, carry trades. You accumulate Bitcoin, borrow DAI at the Oasis, and then take a position here. So you're paying 4%, but you're getting 38%. You're paying 4%, but you're getting 15%. So you don't want to liquidate your Bitcoin, and that's really the goal that I've tried to focus since the beginning of this stream, is to accumulate and don't sell. You want APY, you want yield. So you accumulate Bitcoin, you borrow against it to generate more value, to accumulate more Bitcoin, which is a growth cycle. And that's basically what the big boys do. That's what the wealthy people do. And that's what I'm going to advocate we all do. We'll do it together. That's why we're on the stream talking about it. Will they ever stop providing curve interest? Yes, there is a max supply for CRV. And at that time, the entire dynamic of the asset will change. But for now, it's an inflationary asset, albeit I would argue it's comparable to Bitcoin in that it's a decaying inflationary asset. At some point, there will be no more emissions. That's what I mean by that. Pellet says, stop averaging Bitcoin and start averaging ETH alts now. Bitcoin is extremely greedy territory. Well, it just ripped through 17,500. I think this thing's going to go quickly to 20,001. And two, look at the Stoke. This Stoke, you sell when the Stoke is overbought, and then you buy when it's oversold. That's the name of the game. And you have a long way to go before that thing is overbought. This thing's going to rip to 20 grand. Now, bear in mind, I have no intention of selling Bitcoin. I will let this thing go to 50 grand, and I will let it fall back down to 30 grand. My goal is to accumulate Bitcoin because this is my reserve asset. I do not denominate my wealth in dollars. And that is a choice. Whether that's the best choice, I don't know. We'll look back in 20 years with 2020 hindsight and see if that was the best choice or not. But I just have a disdain and a distaste and a bias against fiat, and that I'm using to drive my investment strategy. And that is how I will proceed. Whether that investment strategy plays out as I hope, we'll see. And that's the whole point. But what's most important for yourselves as an investor is to pick a strategy, you stick to it, and you have strong hands, you have faith, and you have determination. And that is how you win. You stick to it. Stick to the choice, the decision, the path, and stay on the path. Heirloom says, thanks for sharing your insights. Expecting to start yield farming this weekend. So bear in mind, be very careful. You have to be cautious before engaging in a yield farm. You got Pickle, you got Seal, you got they got that Simpsons finance. There's a whole lot of yield farm. Look, I got 1, 2, 3, 4 up there right now. So these are inflationary derived yields, and a lot of them are uh, DeFi automation, which is cool with using their governance asset as an incentive. So the governance assets are all inflationary. They're created out of thin air. So these are all things to consider. I think the most important is curve, and I can't spread too thin. I don't think I'm going to make my fortune off of Pickle Finance or Seal Finance or Simpsons Finance, guys. Come on, you're all playing around with little, $1,000 here and there, thinking you're going to turn $1,000 into $1 million using Simpsons Finance, Pickle Finance, and Seal Finance. No, you need a strategy. Accumulate the Bitcoin, leverage the Bitcoin using the MakerDAO, 4% interest, and generate yield. And I'm generating 50% yield from a 4% loan. And there's no other way to see that. That is what is occurring. And that 50% yield is denominated in CRV, which you could then look at the chart for CRV BTC and see that CRV is, well, it was a depreciating asset, but it has since bottomed, and it is overwhelmingly an appreciating asset. So my yield is derived from an inflationary source denominated in an appreciating asset. How about them apples for analysis, man? That's crazy. That's crazy stuff right there. What am I missing? I'm missing a bunch of the stream. You all talking. Uh, Bought Curve on Kyber, doing well. Just need to figure out how to make it. VECRV, Domo. VECRV. You could use this ape tax. You see crv.ape.tax, which is Yearn Finance's back scratcher vault. It was made by Andre, who basically runs Yearn and Bantag, very popular in the Curve and Yearn communities. And this will turn your CRV into YVECRV, which will give you a leverage position because you're not just getting VECRV, you're getting a portion of Yearn Finance's total VECRV. So Yearn, because they have so much liquidity in the Curve pools, they have, and they're constantly receiving more and more VECRV. And from their VECRV, they are getting part of the platform's trading fees, the admin fee, the 0.02% per transaction fee. And what Yearn has created here is a way for people to lock CRV to get a portion of the platform, the Yearn platform's VECRV, which turns out to be 1.5 times as much revenue as you would get just turning your CRV into VECRV. Now, bear in mind, if you really love your curve, which I do, I have converted the vast majority of my CRV directly into VECRV so that I can participate in the Curve DAO and vote on proposals, voting with my VECRV. When you have YVECRV, you cannot vote. And that's a whole topic in the forums of what they're going to do and how they're going to handle the voting rights. What am I missing in the stream? What's going on? What's up, Dave? Always a pleasure. Igor says Core has its own Oracle integration. What do you think about it? I think there's plenty of oracles. There's nothing special about an oracle. There's a lot of oracles out there right now, and there will be more. And this is just the beginning. And I think Link is a big deal. But I don't think Link is going to go 50 billion and overtake Ethereum in the short term. I just don't think that. So I think there's many assets that have a potential to 10x before Link does a 10x, which is Link is already 5. It's number 5. It's the number 5 top market cap. If Link did a 10x, it's worth more than Ethereum. So I think there's plenty of assets that have a more likely than less likely chance of going 10x before Link. And that's the whole point. That's all investing is. What is more likely or less likely to occur? Okay, guys, there's no guarantees. Link could 10x, Link could 100x. But is it more likely or less likely to occur? That's all it is. Barry's in the house. Always a pleasure. Stelios, isn't it tasty with the weekly run and sell? Rebuy with the first drop? Ah, fuck that. I don't care. I hate dollars so much. I'm so angry at income tax and the Fed and the Treasury and the IRS, and I'm done, man. So I don't give a crap if it drops. I just want more of it. This is my value. This is my future. This is my legacy. I'm going to fight as hard as I can to have as much Bitcoin as I can because I'm done playing this game. I opt out of the game, the fiat game. I'm done. That's my motivation. That's my goal. That's my focus. I opt out of the status quo. I will not do what every other schmuck that doesn't know any better in this planet does. Accumulating paper printed by a government with the sole purpose of it to be control. Governments have created fiat as a means of control. I opt out. Fuck fiat. I said it. Thank you, Heirloom. Appreciate it. I try my best. The tech analysis. Regarding the question above, I wasn't even talking about selling, just letting it go its own way and starting to accumulate some alts. Listen, I accumulate. I'm tempted to take an Aave position. I'll take a half a Bitcoin worth of Aave, but I have to wait. Where's my Aave chart? So there's my chart. That's the 30 min. I want to see it take out the higher high. Which would be here. You have to go out, zoom out a little bit. I want to see it more. That's what I want. I want to see it take out the higher high and turn resistance into support. So I won't buy until there's a big rip to the upside. So hey, you hear that, guys? I'm not waiting for a dip to buy. I'm waiting for this shit to go up in price to buy. I'll buy when this thing rips 20% to the upside. How about them apples? Does that change the mentality? Folks waiting for a dip to buy. Now, bear in mind, I'm waiting for a serious dip to buy Tesla. That's a very different narrative, though, because that their fundamentals are dead. The technicals are distorted, and everything about the legacy financial system is disgusting. It's a completely different game. So if Tesla dipped to $200 a share, $180 a share, dare I say, 150, buy. But it's not going to go there right now. Let's pull it up though. Let's take a look. I'm pulling up equities on a crypto stream. 5 minutes left. So check this out. This thing ripped to the upside on the news that it was included in the S&P 500, but it was firmly rejected. Bam! On the previous higher high. Bearish. It fell right back into symmetrical triangle formation. Bearish. There's about 19 days left on the symmetrical triangle. If it goes past this 20 days, I doubt it. This is possibly an incredibly bearish setup, guys. Look at this massive dip. So I consider this a bearish symmetrical triangle, where the start of the symmetrical triangle is on an extremely bearish note. This thing was almost a complete retrace. So to me, this is an extremely bearish position. What I'm looking for is this. I believe firmly in mean regressions. When there's a irrational exuberance, the price action substantially deviates from the average. And that's what this 200 EMA is so damn meaningful. And look at this. This thing, this is the 200 EMA on the daily. Look at the weekly. Look at the weekly, guys. I want to buy when there's a deal. That's what Warren Buffett says. If there's a deal on the table, you buy the shit out of something. And this is the perfect stock because Tesla is a once-in-a-century company. If you see Tesla near the 200 EMA on probably the daily 200 EMA or the weekly, this is where you buy. This is where you buy, ladies and gentlemen. You see Tesla down in the less than 100s, the less than 200s. Near this 200 EMA, this is where you're buying, and it'll change your life. Albeit, this is a little scary that the Stoke RSI is down and oversold. So this can rip to the upside. So the whole point is, I don't trust it at this price. We are way deviated from the average, the mean. I expect a mean regression. And if there's no mean regression, I'm not buying. It's as simple as that. Just because it's awesome and I love the company, I'm not going to buy it. I'm not buying it unless there's a ridiculous deal. Okay? Because there's better opportunities. There's better opportunities. Don't take the gamble. It's not worth the risk. I'm going back to curve because that's where my game is. What else are we talking about? Aiming to begin Celsius on your curve. Oh man, Celsius, I like Celsius. There's risk because it's a centralized organization, but fucking a, we're talking about stocks. We're talking about a whole world of companies, and we're angry against a company they're doing what companies have done. That's what a company does. A company does exactly what Celsius has done, except their business model makes banks look pathetic. So, the only reason folks hate on it is because they're coming at it from a crypto perspective. They're coming at it from a business perspective. From a business perspective, Mashinsky's saying, fuck you, Chase. Fuck you, HSBC. And that's pretty cool. Because how many people have tried a business like that? Good for him. He gets big props. Eth about to break higher from the summer top. Yeah, I expect it. I mean, the macro narrative is absolutely ridiculous. Did that just rip to 17,700? So one Bitcoin just ripped 300 points on this stream, give or take. 17,700. You saw it, folks. Bitcoin was at 17,700 on the stream. Woo! Dennis is asking the biggest risk using Curve. The biggest risks are the smart contracts. Otherwise, the yield is ridiculous. The risks are obviously the price action being potentially non-sustainable. But look at this. The 1 hour is using the guppies as support. That's where the support was. Pretty cool. So the risks are obviously the price action that it doesn't appreciate as overwhelmingly in favor of making it a good position to take. But also the risks are the smart contracts. So of platforms that are created by overwhelmingly intelligent people. I mean, the people that are the smartest people in the room. Curve, Aave, Maker, Compound. These are the people. These are the people that are going to change the planet. Because no, there'll be new people. Yearn, and these are the smartest people in the room making these platforms. So don't put 100%. Don't put 50%. Put 10%. So I'm leveraging. So if there was an issue with my 40,000, I'd have to come up with 40 grand, and that would give me back access to my 140 grand. So that means I lose 40 on top of my 100, but I have other assets. And this is a portion of my portfolio, that 40 chips. So I'm putting risk on the table for return. No risk, no reward without risk. So the question is, how much risk are you taking? Now, listen, this is a risk. If you're putting your value into Cardano, there's a risk. You're putting your value into XRP, there's a risk. You're putting your value into any asset, there's a risk. So it's all about risk. This is just a risk analysis. I'm telling you right now, if you're putting your value into an asset that's going down in price and you're holding it, hoping for it to go up in price, that's some serious risk. And I did some really good tweets this morning about that topic. Don't take that risk. Protect your gains. Dave says waiting for a rook dip. So I was supposed to talk about this. So I bought a little bit of rook, just a little bit, a couple $100. So there's a million max supply. What I think of is Yearn has a 30,000 max supply. That's why Yearn is worth a fortune, by the way. So I like rook. I think it would be better at a little bit of a cheaper price. It's highly speculative because it's just starting. But I think the platform is brilliant. Brilliant enough for me to take a little speculative bet to accumulate more rook. There are half a Bitcoin WBTC or RenBTC in here. It produces yield, a little bit of yield, 0.43% and 22% denominated in rook. But bear in mind, so this platform is designed to attract brains, arbiters, people that take advantage of price imbalance arbitrage between exchanges and AMMs. This platform is designed to attract the smartest people in the room. Attract them so they have liquidity. A person that's really damn good at arbitrage trading, having access to 30, 40, 50 million dollars, could do some serious arbitrage. And that's the whole point. That's where the yield is generated from. So the more arbiters that they attract because they have liquidity that the arbiters can use, the more yield. that liquidity providers will generate, the more value, perceived value, as well as actual value that Rook will have. This is a serious platform. Why? Because it's denominated in terms of intelligence. The more intelligence this platform attracts, the more value this platform will have. The more value this platform will have, the more intelligence it attracts. The more, what do they call it? Keepers. The more keepers this platform will have. Very impressive. Worthwhile to keep an eye on. Speculative to take a position. Risk. Analyze your risk and reward. Uh, Bitcoin is writing history today. Damn right. This thing's going to 20K faster than anyone could think. Man, this thing's ripping 200 bucks up, 200 bucks down. It's at 17.5. I feel like a sportscaster. I would love to see this thing bounce off this orange line, which is about 17,240, which would be a serious resistance flip support. This price action is absolutely insane to see an asset that's $17,500 rip it up and down 200 bucks. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, Celsius is Mashinsky did his Voight money. He's a billionaire, I believe. That's a correct statement. So I like him, and I think there's risk in everything, and I like what he's doing as a company. I think that's meaningful. It's honorable, and people want to leave legacies, and people want to enact change, and people want to disrupt the system. That's why he's doing what he's doing, and I can understand it, I can appreciate it, and that's why I trust his business. Um, Celsius is amazing, James says. Profitable company, 2 billion in assets, second the grayscale. It's serious, man. It's serious stuff. Why not get that DAI loan on Celsius for much less? True, you're right, but it's not DeFi. So I don't have instantaneous access to it using my ledger and an Ethereum transaction. So that's the name of the game. There's something that's extremely attractive about having your keys, your crypto, or your keys in control of your crypto, and that's about control. So that's why. Would it be safer to allocate multiple pools to reduce your risk? Okay, that is a consideration. So I actually only allocate. I have a little bit in here because of the ridiculous yield of 60.25. And I like GUSD because that's Gemini's dollar. But I shy away from anything three pool related and USDT. I don't trust USDT. Notice I have my money in DAI and USDC pool. I trust DAI and I trust USDC. I do not trust USDT. If USDT shits itself, these pools are going to get fucked up. So I want as little exposure as I can to USDT. All of these, the meta pools, are denominated in a three pool, and three pool contains USDT. So just be careful. That's just a risk consideration. Obviously, I have liquidity allocated to take advantage of the 60.25% yield on the GUSD pool, but I'm earning 50% over here. Maybe I'll just move that over and just consolidate everything into the compound DAI pool. I like that much better. Dennis, this is what I am doing. Some in Uniswap, some in Celsius, some in Curve. Yeah, yeah. For me, the only other thing I have is my dark nose from Ren. Otherwise, that's all I got. My yield is derived from Celsius, BlockFi, Curve, which is giving me, $6,000 a year. This obviously fluctuates substantially. $6,000 there, 50%. This is giving me $20,000 denominated in Curve. I get 6% from Celsius. I get another 6% from BlockFi, and I maximize the Bitcoin deposits there. And obviously my dark nose, which are throwing out a fair amount of revenue as well. How the hell am I going to account for all this in taxes? What a mess. Old ass tax system, old ass IRS. They make it so hard. What kind of system? The IRS is so stupid. They're asking me how much I owe them. That's like going to checkout at a supermarket with a shopping cart full of groceries, and the shopping cart saying, "How much do you owe?" And the supermarket saying, the cashier saying, "How much do you owe me?" How stupid is that? Isn't this the stupidest thing I've ever heard of? Can you imagine being in line at the supermarket and the cashier saying, "All right, so how much do you owe me for these groceries that you're taking from my store?" That's how stupid the IRS is. Oh, Heirloom, thank you. Thank you. It is 12:07. Always a pleasure, everyone. 12:07 p.m. on a November 27th. It is Tuesday. I'm going to check you all tomorrow, and we're going to check back, and we're going to see Bitcoin have some crazy numbers. And always take care. Take profits, risk analysis, maximize your yield. Don't take too much risk, and all these fancy things that we talk about. Never spread too thin. Never go all in. Smack those thumbs up buttons. Tell everyone to subscribe. All I need is like 70 more subscribers and we'll get to 1,000. So if you guys could get a couple of subscribers, that'd be really great. Just a couple of posts on Twitter, spread it around. That'd be really appreciated. And I'll catch you all tomorrow. Y'all have a wonderful day. Peace.